Imagine walking into a house where the air feels heavy, where shadows seem to shift with every blink, a place that watches you back. Tonight, we're entering a home like no other, a place so sinister, even the most hardened skeptics have fled, leaving only whispers behind. But we're not here to run. We're here to listen to the walls, to uncover what lies within. You might want to leave the lights on for this one. So, what happens when a seemingly ordinary family stumbles upon a place with a history darker than they could ever imagine? Welcome to the beginning of their nightmare. This house, let's just call it the McGregor house, is one of those places. You know, the ones that look normal on the outside, but on the inside, well, let's just say, not everything that stays quiet is harmless. When the McGregor family moved in, they thought they'd found their dream home. Classic porch, large windows, a beautiful front yard. But as they began to settle in, little things began to shift. Literally. Items disappearing, strange smells in rooms that were pristine, but hey, maybe it was just an old house thing, right? Or maybe it's just the house saying, hey, those are my car keys. Each night, the feeling intensified. A sense that they weren't alone, that every step was followed, every whispered word overheard. But the truly unsettling part, they began to feel as if something was watching. Then came the night their youngest, a 6-year-old girl, screamed from her room. Her parents raced in, only to find her staring at a corner, wide-eyed, frozen. She muttered one sentence over and over, "The lady says she doesn't like us here." Now, this is where most people would start Googling for hotel deals, but the McGregors were determined. They tried to brush it off, telling her it was just a bad dream. But as days passed, the house seemed to retaliate, amplifying its presence. Furniture started shifting during the night. The sound of footsteps would echo down empty hallways, and then they found the cellar. The cellar was hidden behind an old door they hadn't noticed before. Thick and imposing, as if hiding secrets, best left untouched. As they descended, the smell grew thick, stale, almost suffocating. Flicking on the light, they saw something that made their blood run cold. Drawings scrawled on the walls, dozens of them, in a childlike hand, figures, faces, and phrases like, "Never leave." Nothing says welcome home like creepy wall art, right? But these drawings, they seem to tell a story of their own. A story of a family much like theirs, who had lived in the house and never left. After that discovery, the family's nights took on a sinister routine. Each night, around 3 a.m., they'd wake to strange noises, whispers in rooms they knew were empty, footsteps pacing down the hallway outside their bedroom. And each time, they'd find the lights in the cellar turned on, as if inviting them down once more. But every time they'd turn off the light, it would flick back on, until the night the mother finally decided to stay up to catch whatever or whoever was down there. Armed with a flashlight and her courage, she crept down to the cellar, heart pounding. She could feel eyes on her watching. Just as she reached the last step, a cold breeze brushed against her cheek. She turned, and there, in the corner, a figure loomed, translucent, barely there, but glaring at her with piercing eyes. If you're thinking, time to move, well, you're not alone. But instead, she stood frozen as the figure leaned forward, a whisper carrying through the dark saying, "You don't belong here." And then poof, just like that, it vanished. The McGregors couldn't take it anymore. They packed up and left that very night, leaving the house just as it was, with everything still inside. They didn't even bother to sell it, abandoning it like a bad memory. Now, years have passed, and the house still sits there, empty and untouched, but never alone. Those brave enough to step inside claim they still hear voices, still see shadows flitting by, as if the house itself remembers and waits. But the McGregor house isn't the only place where spirits refuse to rest. Some houses hold on to their secrets for tighter. If you think this was chilling, you'll want to hear the story of the infamous Sally House, where the hauntings are far more personal. Tap to watch Alone in the Haunted Sally House if you dare.